my God, what the heck, StreamYard? Soon as I jumped in to say hello, they like jumped me right back out. Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. I am sorry. It's noon and we're just starting because, and look, all right, let me start from the beginning. So today and, the following days after today, I'm going to be streaming the trial of Issiah Ross. He's accused of killing Lyric and Devin Woods, not too far from me. I actually might go in person at some point. I have been to the area, to the crime scene, talked to a lot of the community with the girls from Decipher Podcast and another friend of ours, Incognito Gypsy. This case, I've been waiting for it to go to trial, and it's been really hard to find updates on. They have kept everything very close to the vest. Details have came out over the years, but I kind of thought we were never getting to trial. I had wondered if he maybe made a plea deal and it just wasn't publicized a lot or something. Well, then come to find out, he is on trial right now. It just started on Wednesday, and nowhere is streaming it. A couple small local channels. Now, I understand that I don't cover trials here. I don't do this. This case is an unknown case that probably wouldn't get much attention if it wasn't a trial, but certainly there will be less people here. It's going to be a small group is what I'm saying. I don't think there's a lot of people with the interest of watching this, but I have the interest of watching it. It means something to me, and I want to have it memorialized on my page in full from start to finish. We are starting everything that's being put out. Now, it's a little confusing because we have to switch back and forth from two channels because in the beginning, they started putting stuff out like in clips, but now this one news channel seems to be streaming it straight through. This is an important case. Like I wish more people cared. I really do. But, no matter what, it's something that is important to me. I want to talk about. I want the details known. I want to have discussions with you guys, with the Decipher girls, and I'm going to do that. It's going to take a long time. I won't be interrupting as much as I usually do because we're watching a trial. It's not something I do here. My friend, Bendy, streams trials usually, and she does a great job. She's not streaming this one. Nobody is. And because it's so important to me, I want to do it. So that is what we're doing. We're about to start. But let me just check on you guys for a minute. Steph says, yes, I'm all in and so invested. Awesome, because I'm right there with you. And that'll be, I'm excited then. Like for some of you guys to also be invested. That's exciting. Amber said, let's see, that's how I felt about the Upchurch defamation. I'm like, well, I'm interested in it. Yeah, I thought you did a great job on that. That your commentary was also very interesting. Not only his, what do you call that? Why is it leaving my mind? His statement, his video statement. My brain. Neat. Thank you. I'm glad you're streaming it. Hippie Chick says, I've been wondering about this case. I'm glad you're doing it. Hey, Clicker. Hey, Teacup. Oh, I was able to add the wanted poster. But I didn't get, YouTube's funky. I had to remove one. I have to gain, quite a couple more members before I can add any more without removing it. But I was able to remove one and then add the poster. So, okay. And if you don't know what that's about and you missed it, watch my live from yesterday. It's insane. It's a true story. That happened to me. So did it not save? Oh, it didn't save. Well, maybe I'll get it to save later. But yeah, if you missed that live, definitely check it out. And I think we should get right into it. Again, I'm not going to do as much commentary. He removed the deposition from his channel. Wow, well, see? Good thing you got it on yours. Hey, Tess. Tess says, driving home, I'll be listening for about an hour or so. So glad you're doing this, Devin and Lyric Matter. Oh, one last thing. So it's going to be a little funky how we do this. Today we have opening statements. We have Devin's dad and Lyric's mom. And then we have about a 3-hour chunk from that first day. we're going to watch, and there's so much. I mean, then the second day, I only watched about 30 minutes of the medical examiner, and I've been trying not to watch because I want to watch with you guys, and I'm going to watch with you guys anyway. So, there is a lot to get through. We're going to be here for a while doing this, but it is what it is. So, okay, here we go, you guys. Here is, again, we have to watch the opening statements in quick increments. They are quick, 6 minutes and 5 minutes. Then we got about 10 minutes from Lyric's mom, about 10 minutes from Devin's dad, and then we get into our first other witnesses, first investigators on the scene and stuff like that. Also, of course, any true crime case is graphic. There's going to be graphic details, but just know that they have done an exceptional job at trying to make sure the photos aren't being seen by the camera. I don't think anything graphic is being seen. She even skipped through parts of the body cam from one of the first responders because of course they were there in the footage. So yeah. All right, here we go, you guys. Thank you for being here. If you're joining me along, whether you know about this case already or you're going to learn about it now, can I just say that means so much to me? Because this one just means a lot to me, the case in totality and for many reasons. And so thank you guys for being here and either continuing to learn about it or learning about it like from not knowing anything. So thank you guys. All right, here we go.
All right. We're ready for opening statements. Madam DA?
Yes, Your Honor.
Jury is with you.
Thank you so much. On the night of September 16th, 2022, Devin Clark and Lyric Woods made plans to meet up. Lyric was going to sneak out of the house. 14, it was definitely sneaking. Devin was 18, so his rules were a little bit different. Legally an adult, he could come and go as he pleased. But of course, he was living under his father's roof, and so dad's rules apply. But they were going to meet up and hang out for a bit, like teenagers do. Lyric's mother will tell you that Lyric came in the living room, said goodnight to them around 11 p.m. on the 16th, said she was going to go take a shower, and that was the last time she saw her daughter alive. The next morning, she woke up, Saturday morning, the 17th.
Now, when they step away from the podium, the audio is not super great, but it's very loud and good once we get into the witnesses. It's just these quick opening statements. And when they get up for other reasons, it'll kind of course, if you're away from the microphone, you can't hear as good, but it's going to be pretty loud once we get to the witnesses.
And her younger daughter, we're going to wake Lyric up so that they can decorate the house for fall. And when Lyric's younger sister went to her room, she wasn't there. At that point, Elizabeth, very worried, went to go check for herself. Not there. Couldn't find her anywhere in the house. Called her father, said, "Is she with you?" No. And so at that point, Lyric's family filed a missing persons report. And that was Saturday morning, September 17th. Now, like I mentioned, Devin was 18 years old. His father will tell you it was not unusual for him to leave the house on Friday night and perhaps spend an entire weekend with some of his friends, crashing at one of their places. So when he called him on Saturday, it didn't get a response. It wasn't necessarily unusual, but what was unusual was that the calls went straight to voicemail. And he tried again, and it went straight to voicemail. And he was unable to reach Devin at all on that Saturday. Now, Lyric's family was in the midst of working with law enforcement to take any steps they could to try to locate her. Saturday night turned into Sunday morning, still nothing. And at that time, Devin's father began to get very worried because he had still been unable to reach Devin. On Sunday about midday, Devin's father filed a missing persons report. At this point, it was beyond what he would normally expect from his son. What both families couldn't have known, and what nobody knew at that time, was that Lyric and Devin were already dead. On Sunday afternoon, around 3 p.m., two folks who were riding four-wheelers going to check deer cameras in an area off of an access road near Buckhorn Road in Etland, located 2 bodies, and they called 911. When investigators arrived on scene, they located the bodies of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. They had been shot.
Now, I just want to pause and say there is a correction that we hear here and with her mother when we a correction I want to make, because we had always thought that her grandfather found her. He was a part of it because they're all, some of the family is within the fire department, but just know it's not exactly as it had been reported before. And I want to make sure to make that known. That's all.
Multiple times. Investigators also observed that it appeared that the bodies had been there for a little while before they were discovered. The investigation revealed that they were killed approximately 2 a.m. on Saturday, September 17th. So just a few hours after their parents said goodnight to them. And approximately 36 hours prior to the discovery of their bodies. On the following Monday, September 19th, an individual contacted the Orange County Sheriff's Office, said that he had information about this case. And speaking with that individual, this is the first time investigators heard the name Issiah Ross.
This blew my mind. They got his name so fast, within a couple days.
The defendant. I expect that you'll hear from that witness, and he will tell you that the defendant confessed to killing Devin Clark and Lyric Woods, and that the timing of his confession was before their bodies were discovered. You'll hear from a cell site and location data analysis expert who will explain when the victims and the defendant came to be together in the early morning hours of September 17th. You'll hear from a DNA expert who will tell you that Lyric's blood was on the exterior of the defendant's mother's vehicle, a vehicle that he is on surveillance video driving in those very same early morning hours of September 17th. You'll hear that 12 shell casings were recovered from the crime scene, located in 3 distinct groups. A forensic firearms examination expert will tell you that all 12 of those casings were fired from the same firearm. You'll hear from the medical examiner. You'll hear that Devin was shot 6 times, that Lyric was shot 7 times, that they both were shot in the back, that Devin had a shot to the back of his head, and that Lyric was shot twice in the neck at close range. You'll hear that the murder weapon and Devin's phone were never recovered. And finally, you'll hear that on the evening of Sunday, September 18th, after the bodies were found, the defendant left the state. He was arrested in Delaware on October 5th, 2022, 18 days after they were killed. Members of the jury, this is just a brief forecast of the evidence you're going to hear in this case. I ask you, as you listen to the testimony and review the evidence, that you keep these things in mind: the timeline, the physical evidence, and the defendant's confession. And when you've heard it all, when the truth is laid bare in front of you, I will ask you to hold the defendant accountable. I will ask you to find him guilty. Thank you.
Whoa, okay. So that was, God Almighty, hearing the crying. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's why, it just reminds me of why I want to do this and I want to talk about this. This is important. This matters. And it's unfortunate that some cases their trials are streamed on 100 channels. You can't find one to watch, and Court TV and Crime Online and even the small little channels are getting huge audiences watching trials, and some just aren't. And I don't know what that is, and that will never stop bothering me. So I guess I just need to move on and stop talking about it. So Lyric's blood is on the exterior of Isaiah's mom's vehicle. 12 shell casings were found in 3 distinct groups, and I'm curious why. To me, it really appears, and I think the crime must have happened close to where they were found, but they must have been moved, it seems. But watching again, I'm sure I'll be able to pick up on much more than the first time. Devin was shot 7 times, once in the back of the head, close range, and in the back, in the bottom of the foot. Lyric was shot 6 times, twice in the neck at close range, and in the back. One of the first shots that went through her back, I watched the medical examiner talk about, went straight through one of her main arteries into her liver from the back, and it came out the front. But you want us to believe that you only shot one of them, Isaiah, and it was in self-defense, even though their injuries really support the idea that they were running away. They were running away. And they were executed. For what reason? For no good reason, that's for sure. Now, I did not watch. You can see the red bar on the bottom of these videos. I've watched these, but I did not watch the defense's opening. And so here we go. And then we'll listen to Lyric's mom. I did watch Devin's dad, but that's by the time I found a different channel, so you can't tell that here. But all right, here we go. Gosh, he's quiet. Quiet.
Now the evidence is going to show that on September 16th, there was communication between Devin. There was also communication between Devin and Mr. Ross. And there was a statement put out. Hey, does anybody have a car? Along the lines of, got wheels, I got funds. And so the idea and the plan wasn't just to hang out. The idea was to get out of the house and have sex. And so these individuals, they get together that night. And Mr. Ross, like a teenager, decided to take his mom's car without permission and pick up Mr. Clark. Now, Mr. Ross doesn't even know Mr. Ross. Mr. Clark is showing Mr. Ross where to go. He says, hey, go here. When you get to this location, turn your headlights on.
Okay.
They pick up there.
I'm not
And then
supposed to be
says, hey,
talking.
drive this way, drive that. And one thing that you didn't hear is that after all this happened, a firearm that belonged to Devin's father was missing. And so the evidence is going to show that that firearm was what was used that. The evidence is going to show that all the shell casings came from the same gun. When law enforcement went to Devin's father's house and they looked at the box that had the gun missing, same color, same type of ammunition. Now, here's where the stories diverge. Who was it that shot here? Who was it that shot there? There was no gunshot residue done on either one of these individuals. There's going to be statements made and evidence that shows that there was an argument between Devin and Larry. And that is going to be the person who shot their boys. It's not Mr. Ross. It's Devin Clark. From that moment on, the gun that Devin brought on the scene was turned to Mr. Ross. And Mr. Ross was left with a tough decision to save his own life. And hopefully, after hearing this evidence and seeing the evidence of the statement show, you'll see that the idea of Mr. Ross's life being put in danger, put him in a position to get him with no choice. Yes, after this happened, in this area on Buckhorn Road, Mr. Ross scared, in a very anxious position, leaves the scene. As he's leaving, he realizes the car from his mother had no gas. He could not even get home. He goes to get gas, sees that he still has Devin's phone, Devin's bag, and his firearm that Devin just tried to kill him with. And he brings it out of the car. It's still probably out on the bus. Never been there. When he gets home, he's at the gas station. He's still freaking out. He actually hits one of the medians at the gas station trying to turn in to get to the car. When he wakes up the next morning, or when he gets home the next morning, his mother sees that her car is damaged. And she goes crazy. So upset. She says, you know what? You're getting out of my house. You're going to stay with your father in Delaware. You can't live here anymore. So she calls one of her friends and says, he cannot stay in my house anymore. Make sure he gets a bus ticket or a plane ticket to go see his father. And so the very next day, he goes to stay with his family in Delaware, where law enforcement finds him 18 days later. There will be a lot of witnesses, a lot of facts, a lot of issues. There will be a witness, or the state's evidence will show that people on Buckhorn, because there's several houses on that road, heard gunshots. And they heard gunshots in 2 separate intervals. Bang, 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 bang. And then there's a pause, about a minute or 2. And then bang, 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 bang. The way the state lays this out is that the person who had this gun just started shooting it, but there was a break. And that break occurred when the gun was then turned over some house. I believe after hearing all this evidence, looking at the state's witnesses as well as the defenses, that you will see that Mr. Ross is not guilty.
Okay, so you know what? Nothing really bothers me more than when we're watching a trial and someone is blamed with no evidence, right? Like we've heard it with Leilani. We've seen it in many cases. It's not rare, it's common. It's like alternate suspect theory, right? But Devin is no longer with us. And the story is, as you just heard it, or if you didn't hear, Devin takes his dad's gun, which was the gun he used. So it was his dad explains that. He takes it with him that night. I still have questions about that, but also kids do that. I mean, then he says the person who shot Lyric was not Issiah, but that it was Devin. He does talk about, and we'll hear later, Issiah was so upset. He's like, pulls up to the gas pump and he ends up running into the concrete at the gas pump. And they claim that this is why he left the state. His mom was so upset he hit the concrete at a gas pump and messed up her car that's why he left the state. No, it wasn't because he was running after he murdered 2 kids. No. It was about the car and the car alone. So that's their story. They're sticking to it. Am I cutting out? YouTube's doing this weird thing now. Sometimes it'll like be glitchy and you have to exit out and come back in. I should be good. There's not a soul on the internet and it has really good connection right now and full bars. So hopefully it's not me, but I turned my Wi-Fi off my phone too. Okay, so now we're going to get into we have Devin's dad and Lyric's mom to listen to.
Dexter Clark.
See, they're posting it in chunks too. But it's just not going to work for me that way. I've got it planned to watch it here on ABC 11. So that's how we're going to do it. They're on day 3, and I'm hoping that through the weekend we get caught up. And but if not, it's okay. We're just going to do it on our own time as we go. All right. So this is Devin's dad, and next we're going to hear from Lyric's mom, and then we'll get into the first officers on the scene and stuff.
Dexter Clark, DEXTERCLARK, Jr., Jr.
Mr. Clark, how do you know Devin?
He's my son.
I know this is difficult, so we'll just take it as slow as you need to go, okay? When was the last time that you saw Devin?
Whoa, hold on. I've still got the volume boosted and it's very scratchy. Doesn't sound good. Sometimes it can be too much and we don't want that. Okay.
I don't know the actual date. I don't know the actual date. But I do know it was a few days before the weekend, and I laid down to go to sleep, and he was in his room. That's all.
And at some point, did you report Devin missing? And when did you do that?
Probably a little later on, maybe like a day or two later, I noticed that I hadn't heard anything from him, so I called and reported him missing.
Had you tried to call him during that intervening time?
I did. I didn't want to think nothing was wrong. So I kind of just pushed it like to the side a little bit.
Was it, had Devin done this before where he'd been gone all weekend?
No, he would usually leave sometimes with his friends and come back, but it wasn't nothing like out of the ordinary.
And when you tried to call him, what happened?
I didn't get no call from. I didn't get he didn't pick up. Whenever I tried to call him.
And do you remember what phone number you had for Devin at that time? Okay. Does 743-244-0344 sound right?
I'm not. Yeah, could be. I'm not sure.
Like the rest of us, you probably just plugged it in your phone and
Yeah.
that's what happened. So was anybody else at your house with y'all the night that you last saw Devin?
My kids were.
And did any of them tell you anything about what he did after you went to bed?
My son said he was there, and he said he got up and played with him for a little bit, and then he left. He said he didn't think anything about it. It wasn't nothing strange.
Did you know anything about what Devin was wearing when he left the house?
You know, I don't want to pause a lot, but I do have to give some commentary. And I just want to say, man, my heart just, God, it breaks for these parents. Watching the tear run down his face. Oh, you can't, like watching on my phone, I couldn't see it as well. It is so sad. This is sad, man. And Lyric's mom is also it's very heartbreaking to watch, but it's important. Their stories are important, and these kids fucking mattered. Whether there's, not a lot of coverage of it and 20 people here listening, they mattered. And so I think it's important we listen, but it's tough. I think they put them first because they wanted to watch the trial. And sometimes we'll see they will put family members on the stand first in order to make it to where they can get their testimony over with, and then they can go sit in the audience and watch the remainder of the trial. So that's a guess, but based on knowing that's what's happened in other cases, that's what I believe is happening here.
Can you walk us through what happened on Sunday afternoon after you reported Devin missing?
Mm. I uh, um I thought he was with his friends at first, because usually he wouldn't leave and just go with anybody. Um, and then I noticed that his friends all of a sudden started popping up, and um, one by one, I noticed that he wasn't with the people that I thought he was with. Um, and so then I guess a little bit went by, and then that's when I ended up calling.
Did Devin have well, obviously he had a cell phone. And have you seen that cell phone since Devin was killed?
No.
Did he have a wallet or anything he would carry with him?
His phone has never been recovered.
I mean, he did, but he didn't usually carry. He usually carried a bag.
Okay. Did you notice anything else missing from Devin's room?
No.
What shoes did he normally wear?
It depends. He had a few. Most of the time he wears slides or something.
What kind of slides?
Nike.
I want to leave in that subject just for a minute. Talk to you about another report that you filed on the evening of September 18th regarding a firearm. Do you remember that? And can you explain what happened and what report you filed?
I reported my firearm was missing because I know that usually Devin would we would go shooting, and I let Devin. That was the gun that Devin did use when we went to go shooting. I was in a shooting club, Country Boys Therapy, and that's what we did on the weekends. And so Devin would shoot the gun there, and yeah.
And so at some point after he was missing, did you check to see if that firearm was where it was supposed to be?
I did. I checked and it wasn't there, so I reported it.
What kind of gun was that?
9mm Canic.
And when was the last time you had seen it?
Maybe a week or two before then.
Did you have any ammunition for that firearm at your house?
I did.
What kind was that? Do you remember?
Just remember, just say yes or no.
No.
When the officers came out to take this report, did you give them that ammunition?
Yes.
If I could have just a moment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Just want to say for people who don't know, when he said, Country Boys Therapy, that is just, it's so true. I remember when I was a kid, I grew up on a farm.
Those are all the questions I have for this witness. Thank you.
My dad used to take us out shooting, my brothers especially, but me too. We were very safe about it. He taught us the right way to do it. Everything was locked in a gun cabinet. I've heard people recently say, you can't protect your home if you're not leaving guns out loaded around or something. No, you can have a loaded gun right inside of a cabinet or up really high if you have kids where they won't reach it or something. It needs to be stored, though, in a safe place. But as long as it's done safely, I don't see a problem with it. And if you do if you grow up in the city, you don't even understand this. If you grow up in the country, guns are a way of life. Like people are hunting all the time, practice shooting, target shooting. It's a big thing. So how sad is it that something that this man was storing in a gun cabinet or, storing up with, trying to do safe, going to shooting ranges, trying to teach his kids his son, because that's the only one we know that went with him, the right way to handle firearms, and knowing that, he was killed with his gun and ammunition. Very sad.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Trapp, cross-examination.
Briefly.
Me too, teacup. I
Morning,
started
Mr.
shooting a gun at a very young age. I mean,
How's it going?
probably like,
I know this is difficult.
I don't
have a
even
couple
want to say
questions
because
for
it's
you, all right?
really young. But with help, with somebody
You
there.
mentioned that
we go.
there was a firearm missing. Was that firearm normally kept in a box?
Oh,
Yeah. It was kept in a box. Yes.
Is that box locked, or do you need a special key to get inside?
I kept it in a box that was locked in my closet.
And so the individual, if anyone were to get that, they would have to have access to your closet. Is that about right?
Yeah.
What color was that gun?
meaning Isaiah didn't take
Gray.
it from the house. We know.
Gray and green, I want to say.
Yes, Miss Hall.
And you mentioned that your shooting club was Country Boys Therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and that you would go shooting with Devin at this club,
Yeah.
and that when you would go, this would be the gun that Devin would use.
Yeah.
How often would you guys go?
Devin didn't go all the time I went, but I would go every weekend.
And so some weekends he would go, and some weekends he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And you said that this gun was a 9mm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said the last time you may have laid your eyes on it was at least a week before,
Yeah, a week or two. Yeah.
but you haven't seen it since.
No.
Were there times where Devin would use this gun outside of going with you to the Country Boys Therapy that you're aware of?
No.
Poor man,
Nothing further,
dude.
Judge.
God almighty, my heart just hurts for him so much. Very freaking sad. Okay, guys, so this one is also very hard to watch. Holly says you can't protect your home if you can't get to your gun. And I agree. I think there's a way to do it where, and I don't know that people understand that it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other. Oh my God, you leave guns out loaded, or, oh my God, you don't, how do you protect your home? I think that there has to be a way to keep it in a safe place, maybe that's locked very close to your door, or unlocked, but up high, kind of hidden on top of a shelf or somewhere. There has to be a way, I don't know. I just think that it's a shame that it was his gun and he was locking it up and trying to do everything right. He reported him missing. He was going to a shooting range to shoot, and it took the life of his son. Breaks my heart, man. Shooting guns is just what you do in the country. A huge part of that is learning how to do it safely. Honestly, it's the city people with guns that are the scariest. Hey, Becky. Good to see you. Hey, Coffee. Okay, guys. So now we've heard the opening from the defense and from the prosecution, then the defense. Then we hear from Devin's dad. Now we get to Lyric's mom. And then we'll start and go as far as we can until I have to go to school pickup. And I'm thinking I might come back on and finish letting it play. Because this requires less commentary, there might be a way for me to make that work. Usually on a Friday, it's easier. After school is so much easier than all the other days where you're like homework, showers, lunch, this, that. So maybe we can make that happen. But okay, so again, I want to let you guys know this is equally as heartbreaking. But this poor man kind of staring off, crying, like the circles under his eyes. This is what this does. these, it's just so sad.
And how do you know Lyric?
Exactly why we shouldn't be accusing people who haven't been accused by the police. Even if they are accused by the police, sometimes they're still innocent. Exactly why we shouldn't be like, we need to be respectful of these cases and these victims and their families. And yeah, I don't know. You watch and you see the trauma, and it's very, very sad to see. Okay. So here we go. This is Lyric's mom. And
How do you know Lyric Woods?
She's not daughter.
And we'll take this as slow as you need to take it, okay? Can you tell the jury about the last time you saw Lyric?
Yes. It was Friday the 16th. I had come home late because my mother-in-law had fallen, so I took her to the ER. My parents picked up both Lyric and Genovia and took them to have ice cream, and then went to my house. And it was about 11 o'clock. Me and my husband were sitting on the couch. She came behind us, gave us both a hug, and told us she loved us and that she was going to take a shower. And I told her, don't take an hour and a half, because she always took really long showers. And that was the last time I saw her.
And about what time did you all go to bed that night?
Maybe around midnight.
And can you describe for the jury what happened the following morning on Saturday?
Both girls loved to decorate all the holidays. It didn't look right and didn't look good, but it was the way they wanted it. And so I always tried to let Lyric sleep in, because she never liked to get up like most teenagers. And so I let her sleep until 10. And then I know her weakness was her sissy. So I had Genovia go in there to wake her up and try to do it in a sweet way. And she came back out crying and said that sissy wasn't there. And it just didn't make sense. So I went in there and said, she's probably hiding from you. Again, that didn't make sense to me either, because I knew she'd be asleep. And realized she wasn't there. And my husband was outside doing yard work. And I asked him, was Lyric outside? Because she wasn't inside. And he said no. So I texted my parents and made sure that for some reason they wouldn't have gotten her in the middle of the night, which they never have, but I had no idea. And then I immediately called Brady to see, did he for some reason come pick Lyric up in the middle of the night?
And who's Brady?
Lyric's dad. And he said no. So while I was on the phone with him, I told my husband, call 911 right now. It's not like her to worry me. That was the last thing she'd want to do. And I had never known her to sneak out in the past. So
And what's your husband's name?
Shane.
as I listen to her and watch her, I can just like feel, I don't know, it's just so hard. Because like as a mom, maybe that's why I can relate to her so much more. Like I can just, I don't know, I even have the words for it. Just really, truly empathize with her. And I cannot imagine the nightmare that this is for them. And it's been years. This happened almost 4 years ago.
And once Shane called 911, what happened?
Somebody came out, they took the report, and I can't remember if it was that day or the next, but the dogs came out in a drone to see if they could see anything or if they could get her scent. But it just wasn't like her to worry us.
Did you notice anything missing? Anything she would have taken with her?
No, we thought she had her iPad. We kept her cell phone at night, but I let her keep her iPad, and we couldn't find it for a day or two. We ended up finding it, but we thought maybe she had that to communicate on.
Anything else that you noticed was missing?
No, just her.
And what, if any, steps did you all take to try to find her?
her dad Brady and her stepmom Jenny, it was tons of family and friends just like driving around. We put out a reward. Anything and everything we could do. I thought she would sneak back in, so I stayed up all night Saturday night. But she was supposed to sign for a volleyball team that Sunday, and I knew if she wasn't there then that something was wrong. By Sunday, I thought somebody just had her. She trusted the wrong person, and they just had her. Never would I have thought this, ever.
So you had at your home her phone and her iPad, and what, if anything, did you see in her phone or iPad?
Kids live on social media, and I texted all of her friends from her phone. I called as anybody that I knew that was in her phone that was in a contact. We were just calling. We had a friend come over because at the time, didn't have any social media, so I didn't know how it worked. Apparently kids don't text anymore. They do everything through social media. And I asked a friend because he knew how to use Snapchat. I knew that she used that a lot. Could he look? And that's where we discovered the screenshot of her location that she had sent, I think at like 1:47 a.m.
Now, you're going to see this is very close to the time when all of this happened, when the shots were reported to have been heard and everything like that. And they have video footage of Issiah afterwards at the gas station. I'm very curious because I don't recall ever hearing about this. I'm really curious why. I don't use Snapchat, but why would you screenshot your location? Maybe if you're meeting up with friends, I guess, but also maybe if you're scared and things are going down, or was that to get picked up? I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it was closer to the actual. Here, let's keep listening. But I have already been thinking about this a little bit, so that's the only reason I said that. So, but yeah, if you use Snapchat, let me know. Like, I know that you can turn your location on and off on there because my cousin a few years ago was, concerned about letting her daughter speak on there and the location settings and all of that. So we talked a little bit about that, but that's about all I know. So why would you screenshot your location besides, I guess, to let I don't know, of course, to let someone know where you are, but is your screenshot of, okay, better way to say it is the screenshot of your location part of like a regular snap that you make and it just shows where you're at on every snap that you make? Or is it going to be only to get picked up if you want somebody to know where you are or if something's wrong, that kind of thing?
And could you tell who she had sent that to?
It was Deuce times 2, I think, or something along those lines. We didn't know who it was because it doesn't say who it is.
Wait,
But we
never
gave that
mind.
information to law enforcement.
That's Devin. Excuse me for pausing again. That's Devin. I remember that from his memorial. But how did anybody else see this? Or like how? I'm confused. I'm confused about the Snapchat screenshot. I guess a friend or something, but how did they see it? Everybody sees it when you send something to one person. It's obviously when she's getting picked up. I listened to this, with tons of emotion. So I need to listen to it a second time more logically and get the facts ironed out. So, okay, here we go.
Percent.
Okay. And then can you walk us through what happened on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah. Sorry. On Sunday, my husband is a fire chief and he's a volunteer fireman for Efland. I'm used to the pager going off all the time. A call came out for a cardiac arrest. I didn't think anything of it. My mind was elsewhere. and I saw my dad kind of bend over like he was trying to catch his breath. And there was a lot of people at our house. And it just looked like something was wrong. And I was like, what is it? And he couldn't talk. And he was like, there's two bodies. Well, it still didn't register to me. So they took off, him and my brother took off to where the call was. I'm on the board of the fire department, so I called the fire chief. I knew he was on scene, and I was like, hey, people are starting to freak out here. They're saying there's two bodies. What do you think? And he just said they won't let us anywhere near them. And I said, okay, well, call me back. Like, tell them you knew Lyric. People are freaking out. I was getting mad that people were thinking that. So I just kind of walked away and went and sat on my neighbor's porch by myself. And so then I called the fire chief back again, probably 2 more times, and just like, can you please just go look? And he said, Jamie will be here in a minute. He just pulled up, actually. He's going to go check. I'll call you right back.
Who's Jamie?
Sykes. I think he's a deputy chief or was retired now, but well, his daughter and Lyric played volleyball together. So he knew she had spent the night at his house in the past. They were friends. And I sat on their porch, and then 3 minutes later, maybe, they pulled the driveway. Chief Sykes and the fire chief of Eflin pull in together in Jamie's Tahoe, and I just took off running. And his window was down, and I just ran up to him and I said, it's not her, right? Because I was keeping it together. Nobody else was, but it's so far-fetched that somebody would want to hurt her. And he just got out of the car. He didn't say anything. He just hugged me. I was like, I'm so sorry. And I collapsed and probably screamed a scream I never want to hear again. And then I just walked away, and I just needed nobody around. I couldn't explain it. And I just wanted to know what happened. And he wouldn't tell me for a little bit. And then they came back later on. They brought us in the house and told us that they were shot. And then we went from there. Planned a funeral. And her dad was already there, and his wife, because at that time, when that call came out, I told him, even though I didn't think anything was to it, they wanted to get here. So they came to my house, and they were there. Tons of people were there. And then the rest is just kind of a blur.
After Lyric said goodnight to you all on Friday night, anybody in your family see or hear from her?
No.
And without her phone, would she have had any other way to contact you all?
No.
Did you provide her electronic devices to law enforcement?
I did. They have her iPad, cell phone, and her school laptop.
Had she ever mentioned Devin Clark to you?
Never. And I asked all of her friends after everything happened if anybody knew him. Nobody had ever heard the name.
Mr.
Okay.
Clark, how do you know Devin?
This is the channel I originally watched everything on. My God, you guys. That is just so sad. Let me get to our next one, and then, oh shoot, hold on one second. So, again, I have questions, but my brain works faster than my mouth. I mean, works faster than my brain. But I don't know how Snapchat works. I have questions if that was sent to Devin, which, like I said, I do remember that nickname from his memorial. So, how anyone else would have it? I find it really interesting that they didn't have a relation. Like mom hadn't known about Devin before. Now, also imagine this. You have a 14-year-old child who doesn't have a car, doesn't have a license, and one morning they're just not in their bed. And yeah, I just can't imagine. And then, goes from there. Their tablet's missing. We actually were on the road where the tablet was found behind the house. I'm trying to find the coverage we want, but it's so different on my computer. So just one second, you guys. I do apologize. Let me just send it over from the phone. Very sad, though. Okay. I don't use Snap, but I know I've heard this location thing with Snapchat discussed. So we have the first day to listen to. Then the second day is when the medical examiner was there yesterday. And I watched some of that. And then let me make sure what I've got here, that's the right video.
Describing where it is.
Okay. The WRAL seems to have the full trial too, and that might be the better place to watch it. But here we go. Because again, it's broken up in all these little pieces. So it's kind of. Hey, Alicia.
We can locate it better by describing where it is with photographs.
I'm going to find a better way to do this for the next parts after this, for the medical examiner. So all of this is him. Okay. And then we have the medical. There's been a bunch of people to testify now, and I quit watching once I decided I was going to stream it. I only watched like some of the medical examiner because I couldn't resist. I really wanted to know the details. But yeah. Investigators and neighbors take the stand. Okay. So let's start here, and I'm going to be looking in the background for a better way to do this.
Identify lyric.
Because see, it starts right in the middle like this, and that's just the footage, the way it is. So.
Identify lyric based on her braces, jewelry, the mole pattern on her face with recent photos. And then we let her know that we suspected that the male was Devin Clark. We didn't have a photo available at the time, but we were going based off of a clothing description that was given about the time that he went missing.
And
LFT.
what else happened while the medical examiner was on scene?
So you guys, this is one of the girls from the channel I mentioned that went to this area with me, and we dug into the case a lot together years ago. LFT and then Tia from Decipher Podcast. I'm going to share the link because there's old footage from the trip that we took with the memorial site, and it's very interesting because we have up close footage of the location where all this happened. We didn't know where we thought it happened further back. And the memorial, like we were at the memorial for quite a while. It actually happened right around, it seems like, where the memorial was. So we have a ton of footage and stuff on both channels. I think you guys should check it out if you're interested, especially if you want to know this case. Like I want to know I want to kind of soak in every detail that I can of a case I'm getting into like that. So, okay.
We examined the body for injuries, located gunshot wounds. It was extremely hard to tell what was entry and what was exit. So we located those, explained the shell casings and stuff that we had found.
And what were your next steps?
After the medical examiner was to move the bodies and check them for other injuries. Generally, before the medical examiner arrives, we don't touch the bodies, don't move them in any way so that they can see how it was when we found it.
And did you assist with moving them then?
I did.
And can you describe that?
Moving them.
Yes.
So generally, we roll them up and then either lift their shirt, lift their pants legs, stuff like that. Look for additional injuries in the back or back of the head, anything like that that was hard to locate.
And after the medical examiner has completed her assessment of the bodies on scene, what happens?
They're loaded up for transport with final passage, and they're sent to the state medical examiner's office in Raleigh at that time
And why did they go there?
for a full autopsy that's not conducted on scene.
And did you remain on scene after were you on scene when final passage got there?
Yeah, and I helped load the bodies.
And then what did you do?
I returned to collecting evidence and photographing, generally processing the scene. I usually stop when the medical examiner arrives so I can assist them with doing their job because mine's going to take several hours.
And at the scene off of Buckhorn Road on September 18th of 2022, did you take a number of photographs?
I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Okay, y'all don't kill me. But while we've been listening, I found the footage from this day in full where we're not getting cut off like we just did. Now we will have to skip around a little bit to skip over her mother's testimony. But I think this is better because we won't miss anything. And it looks like I missed, there's an entire witness that I didn't even know testified here that I missed. So just 1 second. Let me just pull that open.
Are not evidence, but are given to a
So we've already heard their statements. Okay. This is right after the opening statements. We have these two quick witnesses. Let's have a listen. Oh man, unfortunately, there's no closed captioning. Why did it lose volume for me? Oh my gosh, you guys. I just heard it. Can you guys hear this as it's playing? No. Okay, I'm so sorry, but we're going to do this right. So we're going to have, it's live. We might have some issues. Maybe I'll cut it out. Maybe I won't, but. For some reason, the audio on that isn't working, but the other one is where we were watching. That is so strange. You couldn't hear it? All right, that's fine. We'll just go back to where we were watching. There's two quick witnesses, and I didn't see because I was watching on this news channel. I mean, they might be up for a minute each, but still, and then we are cut off on this witness. Everything else is there. It's still 3 hours, and the other footage is 4, but it has the opening and both parents. So we are missing about 30 minutes of footage out of the 4 hours, and I don't know what it is. But since the audio is not working, we'll go back to this hopefully the next day where the medical examiner, and from there we'll watch on that
So
channel
I can
and
assist
it will
them
work.
doing their job, because mine's gonna take.
We're about 40
hours.
seconds ahead of or behind where we were. It's
And
just a bummer.
at the scene off of Buckhorn Road on September 18th of 2022, did you take a number of photographs?
I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
LFT, do you know the witnesses right before him, the two quick witnesses? Oh, okay, those are, here we go. Thank you, LFT. The first two were the ATV drivers. So at least we know what's cut out there. So thank you so much. Okay, let's continue. Sorry for the miscommunication, but I want us to do it right. I want us to get it all. So if that takes a couple of minutes to situate every now and then, it's fine. Keep going. And we have closed captioning here at least, because the other one didn't.
Investigator Baldwin, I'm going to show you what I've marked for identification purposes as States Exhibits 2 to 32 and ask you if you recognize these items.
All right.
Looks like court was postponed today due to family emergency. So sorry, I found the footage from the medical examiner from yesterday. And then
I do.
And what are States Exhibits 2 to 32?
Crime scene photos that I took.
And you took these yourself?
I did.
Did these photographs accurately depict the scene as you observed it on September 18th?
They do.
And would using these photographs help you explain the types and locations of the evidence you found when processing that scene?
They would.
All right, this time I would move to introduce States 2 through 32 as substantive evidence.
Any objections? All right, States 2 through 32 will be admitted as substantive evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I would ask if the witness could step down in front of the jurors.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You may move Mr. Trapp so you can observe.
So, Investigator Baldwin, if it's all right with you, we'll just walk through these one by one and show the jury the image and then have you describe what's depicted in the image.
Okay.
Fair? All right, so this is State's Exhibit number 2. Can you describe for the jurors what we're seeing in State's Exhibit 2?
So I'm actually standing on the access road, taking a picture downhill because it's easier to see all of the items and evidence.
the sound when they're away from the mic.
Buckhorn Road where the access road comes off of. And it shows the placards and the items that were located on the route.
And so this photo, is it from the perspective of where you began moving up that access road looking for evidence?
This one, yes, it is.
Can everybody see it?
And I'm sorry, where I'm standing is the edge of Buckhorn Road, looking up the access road. Yeah.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 3 and ask you what's depicted in State's 3.
So 3, it's very hard to see, but this is the shell casing. It's right in between those two rocks. If you look very closely, this is what I was talking about gravel hiding shell casings, making them difficult to find. This is an example of a close-up picture that we take of evidence. The other one was a mid-range picture.
Okay, sorry, I've been looking for all kinds of different places we could watch this, and
Describe what we're seeing in State's Exhibit 4.
let me just take a pause to talk to you guys for a moment. Kimberly says, I'm just here to say how much I love watching trials. The circumstances of crimes are usually awful and so sad for the victims and families, but I'm fascinated by the process. I am too. I think a lot of us are. You know, I wish Jen would get back to streaming her trials. Let me drop her link. But that's why I enjoy, I've enjoyed watching the trials of the cases we've covered so much over there. I like to know about the process and I want all the details. I don't think there's a single detail that's, unnecessary. Solo Angel Mom, I talked to my beloved son in my dreams. In the 4 years since he left us, he has assured me that there is no sadness or negative emotions where he is. They remember nothing about the death that they had. Oh, Solo Angel Mom. So sorry. Carolina Hurtado, does anyone know how come it took them so long to go to trial? I'm just curious. No, I do not. I am actually really mad over the publicity this got. I have over the years, from time to time, when I've thought about it, searched and searched for updates, for information. It's hard to find. There is this independent North Carolina newspaper that does a great job, the NC Beat, and they've covered a lot of the details. And there's even some things I realized that I missed when I go back and look. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass, and it kind of goes with Building Karma's comment. Thank you so much for covering this. I've been looking for it everywhere. I'm near the area as well. And thank you for being here. And that's my issue. Like, it's so hard to even find the footage to play it for you guys in the right way because it's only 2 small little news places covering it. And it's cut off in random places and they were putting a chunk here and a chunk there. And it ain't right. How come all these other trials, Law and Crime and Court TV, they're streaming all day, every day, nonstop, a bunch of shit. And every person is important and every person's situation, right, is important. But what makes it more like, why not this one? It pisses me off. So I'm going to stream it and then we're going to talk about it. And that's just that. But I appreciate you guys being here because of that. It's so frustrating. Now, this picture part, it's a little bit, I don't know, monotonous. I don't know. It's not the details that really get you. It's not like watching the mother or the father speak where you're just absolutely so engaged with what they're saying, but it's still important. He's describing, it takes him forever just to get through the shell casings, but this is the scene and they're not showing the pictures to the camera. So this is all we have to tell us how things looked.
Yeah, so this is items 2 and 3, shell casing there, and a shell casing there.
I'll speed it up for this though, because it's a lot of shell casings right in the beginning.
And it's also in the close-up there.
I'm sorry. No, I appreciate that.
The juror would like to know if he can ask a question. No.
State Exhibit 5.
So this is, because of length of access road, this is further up, and it shows, again, it's a mid-range shot showing multiple items of evidence and their relationship to each other across the access road.
So in reference to State's Exhibit 2.
Right. Redundant, but important. Totally.
These items 1, 2, and 3, those are what were included in States 3 and 4.
Yes, and then I stood behind 1, 2, and 3, you're very close to them, so you can see the placard numbers better on that one. So they can be oriented.
And that's what's in State's Exhibit 5.
That's right.
And
Okay, I'm gonna give a minute without pausing after this, but I want to say to you, LFT, thank you for coming by, and yeah, come back. I'll be on. I have to go pick up the kids from school in about an hour, but I want to get through this first day because the second day where we have the medical examiner, the neighbors, I'm really interested to see. I haven't seen that yet. I watched about half an hour of the Emmy, and that's it. So yeah, thank you for coming by. And that is so interesting. So we did stop by to we were talking to everyone in the community. We just wanted to see, what they thought and how they felt and just from their perspective. And one of the people who we attempted to speak to who lives right by where this happened, and I mean close, you can see the memorial from his house, from his front porch, was on the stand. So that's very interesting. But yeah, be careful, LFT. That's okay, Tess. It's all good. We're going to be here for a while. Y'all don't need to worry about having to be here all the time or not. Even if there's 5 people here, I'm still recording this and doing this on my channel, and it's going to take us a long time, I think. That's why I need to stop pausing so much, but I have to for commentary. But okay, here we go. Dude, I wish y'all could see at the bottom of my search bar, it literally has a bunch of chili peppers. Okay, now I gotta stop. That's a thing on this channel. They call me Spicy Allie and Spicy Amy. And I have to show y'all this just real quick for a little. This is heavy stuff. Let me show you. Look at the bottom down here. Google, what are you doing? See, I'm circling it with my mouse. You're listening in all the time. I see you, Google. Y'all need to know. You talk about something one day, the next day it's on your on your feed. Okay. Back to it. I'm actually using a chili pepper pen right now to take my notes.
Could you describe what's in State's Exhibit 6?
So this is the fourth showcasing we located.
Kelly.
Very neatly behind that piece of gravel.
Public defender, if I'm not mistaken, Kimberly. I'll double check.
This one was
He's
actually
good though. He's
the
decent.
final top, another showcasing laying in the gravel.
And State's 8?
It's a showcasing. This is on the side of the access road.
More shell casings.
Gravel, but it's on the like the intersection between the road and where the really tall grass starts to start.
While redundant, it's important. Why were they in 3 separate groups? The shell casings. That's strange.
Showcasing also on the gravel for the access road.
And State's Exhibit 10?
State's Exhibit 10. Yeah, so right here, what you can see on that piece of gravel in that area is red stains on the rock, consistent with blood stains, so that's all it's like.
And you
Yes,
collected
he is a public
gravel?
defender.
I collected anything that was red in that area. We'll put it on that.
According to AI, Jonathan Trapp, the attorney for Issiah Ross, is a public defender. He is the senior attorney at Trapp Law, so he also has his own law firm. I'm sure he takes cases that are not through the state as well. And he specializes in criminal defense, and he has represented clients in federal court throughout North Carolina. So that's...
And then State's 11?
So this is, it's in between the mid-range and close-up photo. What I was trying to show you was how close 8 and 9 were to each other. Being the blood stains on the rock and 9 being more blood on the rock. It's just orienting you to how close they were to each other.
And how about State's 12?
So that would be 9. That would be the blood. So you can actually see the trail up through here on multiple. It kind of makes like a wider S pattern up through the pitch. appears more brown because when it ages, what
And state 13.
also, for the placard, and there's kind of a different view of the same kind of trail.
And how about states 14?
So this is a view of the blood, the little flag here, the flag of the council number 8. Just a picture of everything I wanted. But it orients you from 9 through more of the items to 11, and then stuff around the body. So it orients you from the blood to where the bodies are located, all of that.
What, if anything, did you notice about how that was oriented?
So the shell casings move kind of, there's a couple right up front with that first picture, then the next step, there's several more with beginning with blood. And then off to the right of that, immediately, like right off the road, you can see in that picture, is where the bodies are. So in terms of a scene, they're relatively close proximity.
And also it states 15 and 16 together. Can you describe what we're seeing here?
Flip-flops that were located in the tall grass. In that last picture, we saw 8 and 9, the 2 placards that were in the tall grass between the bodies and the standing on the gravel were those 2 flip-flops, but they were obscured by grass.
And would you just point out on states 14 where those 2 items were?
Yeah, again, so there's our blood staining. This is item 10, that's the first flip-flop, and the second one, you can see the top of the placard there, that's the second flip-flop, marked as number 11. But again, they're obscured by grass from that angle, so we get closer pictures.
And state exhibit 17.
I have a question because this goes on for a bit and then they're going to sit down and discuss the scene and the pictures and everything. Do you think that we should just skip through him showing the jury? Because we can't see, we can hardly hear. And I think that they kind of go over all the important details. So I vote for yes. I say we skip through to when he sits down, which is right here. And if you guys feel like it's the wrong decision and want to go back and listen to them describe the photos to the jury, here's the link. I just think because we have so much to listen to and we can't really hear and we're not absorbing too much of, I mean, he's showing and discussing shell casings and the positioning and all of that is going to be discussed a lot by multiple people of the kids. So I'm going to share the link. If you want to go back, we just skipped about 10 minutes of them showing the jury photos, but I will skip when they have breaks. I'll skip when there's stuff happening that we can't really even, that has no value to us. We might as well skip over it. They're going to discuss all of this. Okay, Miss Holly, thank you. Patricia, it was Devin's dad's gun. If you missed the beginning, we listened to the parents of both of the victims testify, and it was sorry, I had to refresh so the sound settings would save. It was really sad, but also informative and I think important.
Ask you about this area of staining next to her.
Okay, here we go. I think they do it again.
After you, well, let me ask you first, were those all the photographs you made on scene that day?
I don't believe those are all of them. Some of them don't come out as good. You know, if your focus isn't right, the lighting isn't right. I'm not sure if that was all of them or not.
And once you were finished taking the photographs of all those images, did you begin collecting items?
We did.
And do you generally go in any sort of order?
I try to collect them in the number of the placards. And the only reason that I really do that is because placards are expensive. And if I collect them in the right order, I can stack them on top of each other and know that I've gotten all my numbers. So if I show up with 40 placards and I collect them in the right order, if I'm missing one, I missed an item out there somewhere I need to go find.
And did you collect them in that way on this scene?
I did.
Thank you for understanding, you guys. I felt like it was not good for us to listen to that way too.
May I approach the witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Here's the link for anybody who would like.
And Investigator Baldwin, I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 33
Okay,
and ask if you recognize this item.
I do. It's the shell casing, one of the 9mm shell casings. It's the one marked number 1 in the photos.
And how do you recognize that that's what that item is?
Because on the front of the packaging, I fill out the same way. I put the item number and I try to make the item numbers match the placards in the photo to make things easier. And then I wrote on there exactly what it is. It's one brass colored RP brand, 9mm Luger shell casing. And it says where it's from and the coordinates on it match what's in my report on where I measured number 1.
And do you label all the pieces of evidence you collect in that same way?
I do.
I will show you what's been marked for identification as States 34 and ask if you recognize that.
Item 2.
Sorry, give me a little more than that.
Okay, yeah, sorry. It's a 9mm shell casing that's marked item 2 that was collected from the access road.
And what brand was it?
It's also RP 9mm.
And how about States 35?
It's item 3. It's the same thing. It's a brass RP brand 9mm shell casing from the access road.
And States 36?
It's the same thing as item 4. It's a brass RP brand 9mm shell casing from the access road with the coordinates listed.
And how about 37?
It's the same thing. It's a brass 9mm RP brand shell casing from the access road and the measurements on there.
And States 38?
38 is a Winchester brand 9mm shell casing. So it's the same caliber, it's just a different maker. And it comes from the right side of the access road and the measurements are on there.
And
And
how,
I'm sorry, is that number 6?
It's item number 6. It's State's Exhibit number 38. But yeah, it's item number 6.
And they're still going through the
39?
casings
This is item 7 and it,
No.
At
through
some
it.
time, he had control of this and he wrote
Leave your notepads in your chair. Everybody else, please remain seated. This time, I'm just going to ask the jurors to step back to the jury designated room.
Okay, so he has an objection.
So
Now this
that's
is interesting and
there.
important. Here we go.
And in
And a
your years of
question or a-
experience, this is typically how you receive packaging back from the state crime lab.
that's exactly how we received it.
Your Honor, this time I would move States 33 through 46 into evidence.
Any objections?
Sorry, the dog's eating over there.
Yes, sir.
Listen to this now. Well, it'll take a second. Yeah, he must have taken it from Devin, Kimberly. Yep. And like I said, well, let me not, because I don't want to speak on what I thought was facts from what we knew before. This is where we learn the facts. So I'll try to do some research into those original reports about this.
Just those legal issues that we kind of need to talk about outside your presence just for a couple minutes. So please remember my instructions. Everybody leave your notepads in your chair. Everybody else, please remain seated. This time, I'm just going to ask the jurors to step back to the jury designated room. All right, we gotten our jurors outside the courtroom at this time. When Mr. Trapp came up, he was expressing some concerns about the introduction of the evidence. It was getting a little complicated, so I suggested we send the jury out. Mr. Trapp, would you put your objection on the record?
Absolutely, Your Honor. And I didn't formally object before the jury walked out, but we did approach. And I, after hearing Investigator Baldwin talk about the details on this envelope, it made it clear that at some time he had control of this and he wrote down what was in it and where it was located. But then he mentioned that other individuals had then had access to the contents of this envelope. One was in 2022 and one was as recent as December of 2025. And so my statement or my question was, since he was not the last one to kind of handle and open the items and contents therein, he can obviously identify this envelope because his information is on there, but the contents, I believe based on chain of custody, might be better suited for the last person to test or analyze these items to confirm this was the item that I got from either the Orange County Evidence Department or got from another expert. And then we in turn sent it back to Orange County versus us saying that because this is a brass item, this is what I found 4 years ago in September. That's where I was going and trying not to be too complicated with it. I'm sorry, Judge.
You don't need to apologize at all, Mr. Trapp. You're working hard on behalf of your client. What I indicated is that if you chose to object to the admissibility of this evidence based on chain of custody, that you certainly can do that. That will probably require the state to add some additional witnesses to their witness list from the state crime lab to authenticate each and every person on that particular piece of evidence, since it's typical that there are very few objections when we're dealing with the state crime lab, but you have the right on behalf of your client to object to their admissibility until the chain of custody has been completely established. And is that what you're doing at this time?
I'm going to confer with my client beforehand, but that's what we were just discussing. So one moment.
Yeah,
Judge.
go ahead and take a moment to talk to your client.
Seems like not everyone who was involved is on the list to testify. And some of the people from the lab, the forensics and stuff, maybe weren't going to, which is odd, but let's see. I wonder, like, are all these guys on the team, I'm assuming? Hey, Johnny, thank you. Good to see you. I'd say it's
If I
probably
may,
not.
I want to make sure I talk with
but
Mr. Ross to make sure he understood what we were discussing
you
and what
should
the
have had
implications
your
were
P's
for
and
both
Q's in order to.
admitting it now versus having other individuals confirm they did do a test on this date and a test on that date. After conferring with him, we will allow the introduction and not have to bring in 2 or 3 other individuals in order to introduce. But I just want to make sure that a red flag came off in my head. I didn't want to do anything until I got his understanding.
No, Mr. Trapp, like I said, that is completely required. As you know, trial strategy about that, I will make it clear that no testimony will be allowed in about any tests that were done or any results of those tests until there's a witness who can sponsor that information. So the only thing strategically you're making a decision to waive is just having everybody in that chain of custody have to testify from the state crime lab.
That's correct. And at this point, I believe the state's desire would be for Investigator Baldwin just to say, yes, these are the items that I found back on September 18th, 2022, and leave it at that.
Yeah, so we'd be admitting the physical pieces of evidence. That's all we'd be doing, not admitting any other information about it in terms of any tests or any conclusions that were reached in regard to them. Merely the actual physical items and where.
Why would they not plan on having these people testify? I mean, I get it. It's it can become redundant, but it's, again, chain of custody. It's important. How many trials have we watched where we've sat through? I mean, think about Gannon's and then we tested this piece and we labeled it this, and then we cut this and we labeled it this. I mean, a lot of time was spent going through every single little detail. Harmony Montgomery, like, why?
They were located, and the fact that outside.
I don't understand why you wouldn't plan for that.
It has remained in the Orange County Sheriff's Department's custody during that time.
Yes, Judge, we understand. Thank you.
All right. And Mr. Trapp, I appreciate you bringing that up, and I appreciate Mr. Ross and you conferring to make sure everybody understands where we're at. So with the defendant's agreement, we'll go ahead, note that they've discussed that chain of custody, are agreeing to not require or object to not having every individual who's opened those particular items into custody. Are there any other objections to the admissibility of states 33 through 46, Mr. Trapp?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. When the jury comes back in, unless there's objection, I'll just admit the evidence.
And I missed it. Just to make it clear, I do expect to call experts who performed additional testing on this and admit their full report, which includes the full chain of custody from the state crime lab, which I think satisfies the chain of custody requirement.
Yes, we would have had to address that if Mr. Trapp had wanted on behalf of Mr. Ross to continue that objection. I believe all of that information, am I correct, has already been turned over as part of discovery.
That's correct.
Yeah. So this is not new information for Mr. Trapp or Mr. Ross that all those reports contained who at the state crime labs touched them. And my understanding is the only other entity other than the Orange County Sheriff's Department who's had that evidence is the state crime lab.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. That sounds good. Anything else either party wants to put on the record regarding this?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Trapp. All right, let's go ahead and have a.
They're experts, but not. I knew they were going to bring these people in. Someone said, Let's go to the next part where you start talking again.
33 through 46.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Baldwin, once these items were collected by you, what did you do with them?
So I take them back to the office and submit them to property and evidence, and then establish a time to take them to the crime lab to be tested for whatever test that we're requesting.
And how does that process work?
Requesting the appointment. So you have to make an appointment. At that time, you just called them on the phone. They've gotten technical now. You have to book an appointment online. But you used to call them on the phone, say, hey, I've got evidence and I can bring it down Thursday, just like making an appointment with your doctor. They'll be like, 8:30, come on down. So we make an appointment, bring it down there, and then I turn it over to them. They sign it to us, or we sign it to them. They print out a receipt. They take it to their storage, and their people test it. And then we go back. They sign it back over to us. We sign it back in, and then we store it in evidence until the day.
And are there restrictions on the types or number of evidence that you can bring to the state crime lab?
Yes, and in homicide cases, your first submission can contain 10 items for any specific discipline. Disciplines are broken up in biology, so DNA, that sort of stuff, firearms, so any examination of the shell casing to determine if it's been related to any other crimes or if it came from the same weapon, what caliber it is, all that sort of stuff. Trace does hair and fiber, so you can do 10 items per discipline the first time on a homicide, and then 5 every submission after that. But you have to wait for all of them to come back before you can resubmit more.
And were there a number of items in this case that were taken to the state crime lab?
There were a large number of items that were taken.
Investigator Baldwin, did you perform any gunshot residue testing on the 2 victims in this case?
I did not.
And why not?
Normally, that's done at the medical examiner's office at the request of the investigating officer. The reason we did not in this case is because GSR is short for gunshot residue. Normally only stays on the skin for up to 4 hours. Outside 4 hours, they don't recommend testing. That's usually because people are putting their hands in their pockets, washing their hands, that sort of stuff. In this case, because of the length of time they had been outside and the weather conditions, it would have degraded so much that we would not have been able to get it. So we opted not to spend the resources to do gunshot residue testing because of the length of time they had been out and the amount of decay that we saw and the dew falling in the morning, the elements.
Investigator Baldwin, I want to turn your attention to the following day, Monday, September 19th. On that day, were you asked to process a vehicle in connection with this case?
I was.
And what kind of vehicle was that?
It was a white 2017 GMC sedan. I'm
And
sorry, like a crossover, not a sedan.
what, if any, information did you have about this vehicle's relevance to the investigation when you were asked to process it?
So I was told it may have been related to the crime. It may have been either a vehicle that the victims arrived in or the suspect arrived in, or both. But it had most likely been at the scene.
And can you describe what actions you took in relation to that vehicle?
So because it was a vehicle, we towed it to the secure lot, actually at the jail over on 70 now, and processed it in the Sally Port. So I had to wait for a search warrant because there's no exigent circumstances there. We waited for the search warrant to arrive. I waited for it to be served by the investigator. And then I started my processing, just like at the crime scene, except this time we didn't use a scanner because a scanner doesn't work well inside a vehicle. So we stuck with just regular photographs. And then in this case on a vehicle, we didn't take measurements because it's all items are contained on or in the vehicle. And so we can locate it better by describing where it is with photographs and in relation to different items on the car, like the wheel well, the front fender, that sort of stuff, instead of taking measurements.
And so you stood by and waited for a search warrant.
I did.
And then what happened once the vehicle arrived?
So the vehicle arrived, the search warrant was served, and then we started by taking exterior photographs of the vehicle, and then we took interior photographs before we started the actual processing for evidence. We tried to document it as it was when we received it.
And when you start processing a vehicle for evidence, can you describe the steps that you take?
Yeah, so I generally, I take my overall photographs to establish it, and while I'm doing that,
I think that, it's going to be much more interesting to hear from the medical examiner, from the neighbors, from any friends, from, those witnesses. But it's important to listen to all of them, right? It's hard, when it gets redundant to focus sometimes. And But yeah, thank you guys for being here. We're going to keep listening. This is going to have a moment where we have a few more photographs that they go through, and we will skip over that part again because they're away from the mic and they're not really detailing it in a way that we can hear or understand because we can't see the photographs, that kind of thing. So of the vehicle.
Looking for things that are interesting about the vehicle. In a case like this, I would be looking for red staining because we found blood on the rocks. I'm assuming there should probably be blood around the car. Any hair fiber that would be consistent with our victims, any clothing item, a wallet, ID, anything that stands out that you say, hey, that would be consistent with the case that we're looking at now. That's generally how I start. And then after that, after photographing, I start collecting those items, generally from the outside in, because the inside's protected with the doors closed. The outside is not. So I start with those since they're at risk first.
So if there are physical items such as a wallet, you would collect that?
Yeah, we'll collect those. They stand out. They're easy to collect.
And then is there other type of evidence you're looking for on a vehicle as well?
DNA is big, especially nowadays. DNA, fingerprints, inside and outside. And then any kind of, like I said, physical evidence that we see, clothing, those sort of things.
And in relation to your processing of this vehicle, what specific steps did you take?
We did a lot of swabs of things that we considered important. Red staining on the outside of the vehicle that we noticed. We took.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I love you too. Thank you. And thank you for caring. And Miss Holly J, we are definitely skipping it. We're going to hear about the potential blood on the vehicle and stuff from him first, but the photographs part we will skip. And, we'll have the medical examiner is next. After this video here, the very next one is the medical examiner. There is a short witness right before, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't listen to them. I skipped specifically to listen to a few minutes of the medical examiner because I'm trying not to watch, but I really wanted to hear. I enjoy, even though that testimony can be redundant, you learn a lot. I really enjoy hearing from the medical examiner, and it's tough testimony to listen to, but it helps you understand the injuries and stuff so much. So
DNA swabs of those. And then inside the vehicle, we took swabs of several areas that were interesting that look like they could be red or brown, older stains. And then we tested this specific vehicle with luminol.
I'll get to the luminol in a minute. Your Honor, if I could have just a moment to grab my evidence items.
Yes, ma'am. Give me the photos.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
okay, here we go. We get to skip this part. So let's see. We're going to go to about, and again, they're going to go through all the
Investigator Baldwin, I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibits 40.
here.
Showing you State's Exhibit 55 that's already been marked and entered. Would you just point out which area of the door handle you're talking about when you say the interior door handle?
Yeah, so if you look right up here, in most modern cars now, you've got a little handle that you grab and you pull out. When we swab the top and the back side of that because that's where you come into contact with it when you pull it to open it. So any of our interior door handle swabs are swabbed the same way, and it came from that location.
Trying to- Hey, what are you saying?
Investigator Baldwin, once you collected those swabs, what did you do?
So after the swabs were collected and I call it processing, filled out, sealed, all that sort of stuff, we tested the vehicle with luminol.
And maybe I should back up briefly. So can you describe for the jury like how you do a DNA swab?
Yeah, okay. So
Kimberly,
DNA, it only takes 60.
just want to pause to say thank you, Kimberly, for being here, and I hope your session goes awesome. And Yeah, we'll keep
You have the little
listening.
scales there about to make an identification. So what we do is we take a cotton swab like you get at the doctor, or like they used to do for the COVID test. I'm sure we all had fun with those. They come in the pack, you open them up, you put on gloves first. Again, everything you do and evidence you have on gloves. Put on gloves, open your pack. You have a small 1 ounce jar of distilled water. You put 2 drops of distilled water on one swab and you leave the other one dry. The dry one picks up wet stuff, the wet one picks up dry stuff. So they help each other. You take the swab and you rub it. Say I was trying to get DNA from there. You rub the tip of the cotton swab all over the area you're trying to collect it from. You cover the top, the sides, all of it. You spin them, rotate them. And then when you're done, you put it in a box. It's like a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch box, about 8 to 9 inches long. And then it goes inside an envelope. Once you do that, you fill out the envelope, close it up, then you change gloves before you take a new swab, because I don't want, if I handled something, I don't want that DNA to be on the swab. The chances are extremely low because you never touch the cotton end. You only touch the wooden handle, but you still change gloves every time.
And is that the same procedure you followed in collecting the swabs that are in front of you?
It is.
And once they were collected, what did you do?
Then we processed, after we stored them, I stored them in a vehicle. I have a lockbox in the vehicle I store them in, and then we process the interior of the vehicle with luminol.
And what is luminol?
It's a chemiluminescent substance that you spray. It comes in a spray bottle, and you put 3 tablets in it, and you gently mix it. You don't shake it very hard, don't turn it upside down. You gently mix it and give it a couple of minutes to dilute. And then when you spray it, it reacts with the iron.
Dude, the extra details. Like, you don't shake it hard, you gently mix it. You don't shake it back and forth like,
In the hemoglobin in the blood, and causes it to glow blue, a very bright blue. Like we all had glow sticks as a kid. Remember the blue glow stick that had that really blue electric glow? It glows like that.
Okay.
And are you trained in the use of luminol?
So there's no specific certification. I did in my basic and advanced crime scene, we did cover luminol, and I have performed it successfully in prior cases.
And what is the benefit to using luminol?
So luminol detects blood, or detects things that could be blood that may not be visible. Like I said, it reacts to the iron, and especially inside vehicles, in cloth, on plastic, stuff like that that's very dark, like this vehicle. It illuminates it bright blue and allows us to see it, know that that's something that we need to collect, or determine that it's not something that we need to collect.
And did you do the luminol testing after you did the DNA swabbing?
We did. We did the swabbing on the stuff that we could initially see in the vehicle, because there's no need to luminol that. We see it, we know it's there, we collect that first. Then we process it with luminol to see if there's anything that we missed.
And can you describe, well, did you use luminol on the vehicle in this case?
We did. We had to create a dark environment because it works best in low light, and then we process it with luminol.
How did you create a dark environment?
So lights were a problem because we're in the city, so we put it under a tarp, and we went under the tarp inside the vehicle and then processed it with luminol.
And where was the vehicle itself located when you did this?
So we drove it behind the jail back toward the loading docks, was the darkest spot at that time because the moon was bright. Behind the building got us the furthest away we could get from street lights, and then adding the tarp got it dark enough for us to process it to be able to see it very well.
And you mentioned the moon, so were you doing this at nighttime?
We were doing it at nighttime, yeah. At dark. It was after dark.
And can you describe what process you follow when testing a vehicle with luminol?
So, well, to move it, first of all, I didn't want to contaminate it. It was brought there on a tow truck. We had to move it. So I had to put on a Tyvek suit, those plastic, like radiation looking suits, and boot covers and gloves, and drive it down there. And then it's like 200-300 yards, drive it down there. Then once it's mixed up, luminol's ready to go, we spray each surface of the vehicle. And we only do a small portion at a time. And the reason that we do a small portion at a time is it doesn't last very long. The glow only lasts about 30 seconds, sometimes 45 at a minute. It's very hard to see, but you spray it in very small sections, and you don't spray a lot because you don't want it to run.
Kelly, hold on. Holly, I almost called you Kelly. Don't know why I started to call you Kelly. Holly said, "Can you tell us what the weather was like when you did it?" Sorry. Oh, about choked myself on my own saliva, but laughing. But I got to take these moments to laugh because some of this stuff is redundant, right? Monotonous, the talk about some of this stuff. And then the other part of it is so heartbreaking. And like, captivating. It's kind of exhausting. So when you can take the moments to laugh, I got to laugh, and that was hilarious. Can you tell us what the weather was like? Because the moon and all the things, it fit perfectly. So thank you, Holly, not Kelly, for the laugh.
If you run, you start moving evidence. So you don't want it to run.
Very important to us.
And
Agree.
Do you start with a particular part of the vehicle?
Generally, I do the exterior first. I always process outside to inside, if at all possible.
And is that how you did it in this case?
I believe it is, yeah.
Can you describe what you observed when using the luminol on this vehicle?
So when using the luminol on this vehicle, there are several areas that lit up. And you spray it, over the fender or places like that. If there's spots that we missed, it lights up blue. I know in this one, inside the vehicle, there was a very large spot on the roof, on the interior roof, that glowed very bright blue.
And were other investigators with you when you were doing this?
I believe at the time, Sergeant Hendricks was there and trying to assist me with photographs. Like I said, I'm spraying it, trying not to make sure it runs. I need help with photographs. So I had the sergeant at the time try to assist me with photographs of luminol.
Kelly.
And, were there areas that reacted with the luminol on the exterior of the vehicle?
There were a few, yeah.
And were there areas on the interior of the vehicle, other than what you mentioned in the roof, that reacted with the luminol?
Interior, I don't recall. I recall the roof the most, but I don't recall that.
And can you describe in a little more detail what you observed on that interior roof?
So in that vehicle, there's a dome light. Most cars have them, and it's got the buttons you just cut it on and off. So when we sprayed the roof as we were coming by, they looked like a handprint. You could see a thumb and 4 fingers, and it looked like very long drag marks for the fingers up until the palm made contact, and there was a little bit of drag on the palm. Kind of like you missed your dome light. You reached back to hit it, you missed it, and then came forward to find it. It's kind of what it looked like on the roof.
Okay.
When you were observing that vehicle with a naked eye, did you see anything there?
It was not visible with the naked eye, no.
Wow.
Are there other substances that can react with luminol?
Yeah, like I said, luminol reacts with the iron and the hemoglobin in the blood to give you that glow. Unfortunately, other substances will react with them, namely a lot of cleaners will react with them. And generally, if they're reacting with something other than blood, they'll be dimmer or have a more white look to it. But they do react with other items.
What type of cleaners might it react with?
Clorox, a lot of household cleaners. Generally, if it's been cleaned, you'll see a cleaning pattern.
What does that mean?
Well, like you wipe down your counter like that. You're cleaning it off, spray your rag, wipe down the counter. Well, if we spray it with luminol and it's a substance that will react, you'll see the streaks where the towel drug the substance across the surface.
And have you seen those type of marks before?
He is,
I have.
Johnny.
Can you compare how those marks look to the what you observed on the interior roof liner of the car?
So the interior roof liner glowed bright blue, first of all. It wasn't as dull or whitish, and it did not have the cleaning pattern that you would expect from a rag or cleaning surface. It very clearly looked like a hand with drag mark fingers.
That is so interesting. Okay, so and Kelly, oh my God, why do I keep doing that? Holly said, "Oh, he might have had their blood on him." That's what I'm wondering. But why wouldn't you see the cleanup pattern? And then I don't remember this from the first time I watched it at all. But again, I also skipped through some of the photos and kind of around, but I watched a lot of it. So yeah, and Kelly, can you get out of my mind today? Please, stalker. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's keep listening.
And I don't think we were able to get an accurate photograph of it in time.
Damn it. That's what I wanted.
And did you take any further steps related to that dome light area after the luminol?
Yes, so because it's cloth, swabbing it's very hard. So like we did with the rocks, we just took the entire item. So when it glowed blue, we figured this is the section that it glowed blue. So we cut a section out of the roof liner and took the entire item to be tested instead of trying to swab it and get those cells.
If I could have one moment, Your Honor.
light from the roof of the GMC.
Show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 74 for identification purposes and ask you if you recognize this item.
Yeah, this is the area that I cut out around the dome light from the roof of the GMC.
And after you've cut it out, what did you do with it?
I packaged it up and then took it to the crime lab for testing.
Or I don't think I did earlier, but at this time, I would move States 56 through 72 and 74 into evidence.
All right, first, any objections to states 56 to 72? Those are the swabs taken of the vehicle. All right, states 56 through 72 will be admitted. And as to states exhibit number 74, which is the lining of the roof from the vehicle, any objection? All right, states 74 then will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Are we at a good stopping point?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, even while y'all are in court, my wonderful, fabulous court reporter has to keep writing everything down, so we need to give her a break. So what I'm gonna do is please remember all of your instructions. Please leave your note. All right, we've got everybody back with us from the break. Madam DA, witnesses with you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Baldwin, when you finished processing the GMC terrain, what did you do with it?
It was taken back to the impound lot.
And how did that process work?
The same way as I moved it. I had to put on Tyvek suit, gloves, boots with a little hood, and look like a spaceman driving it back to the impound lot.
And can you describe the impound lot?
Yeah, it's the chain link fence with 2 sets of gates, and it's chained and locked shut with a combination lock.
What type of ground is it?
Gravel, dirt.
I want to jump ahead a little bit.
Impound lot, like where my car was kept when it was taken recently, to see if I was involved in a really horrific crime that I was cleared from. But yeah, it was also at an impound lot. But I have a question, if anybody knows, because I think I know. But okay, so if you missed my live yesterday, you need to see it. It's crazy and important. It's what I'm talking about here. But okay, so let's say you're accused of killing someone and your car was involved. It either happened in your car or you did it with your car. And they do this forensic examination on the car. And they do find evidence in the car or on the car that you were involved in this crime. Do they keep the full car? Maybe we'll get the answer here, but I think they do, right? Like they'll keep it, they'll keep phones, anything, until after the trial at least, right? Or am I wrong? And then Steph says Canton PD should take notes. What are you saying? These cases are so sad. They not only take a person's life, their actions destroy the parent's life too, losing their child to the system. Absolutely.
Actually, I'll do that in a minute. Do other officers bring you evidence?
If you know that answer, though, let me know. And sorry for the noise a little. I just had to put Rambo back in his. I'm getting ready to leave, so I just shut the door on his little crate. And he kind of moves around a little bit in there, and it's kind of loud.
Collected?
Yeah, so in addition to being crime scene and evidence, I'm the property manager. So any evidence that gets collected for any case at the office.
Until after
And
appeals?
how does that procedure work?
So they collect it, however it is that they normally collect things, depending on what it is. Like we went over with swabs and shell casings and clothing. They collect it, fill out the package, seal it up, and then turn it in, either directly to me or they put it in one of our evidence lockers.
And where are those located?
In the patrol room.
And what happens when somebody leaves you a piece of evidence?
If they leave it in the locker, they put it in there, they put the lock on it, and I'm the only one that has a key. So I go by the next time I check evidence, generally every morning, or if I'm expecting something later that afternoon, and unlock it, take it out, take it back to my office, and do the normal processing and put my stickers on it and either send it to crime lab for testing or store it.
And what about if somebody's bringing you a piece of evidence directly when you're in office?
So if they bring it directly to me, it's the exact same thing. They filled it out, sealed it, all that. And I'll process it, put my sticker on it, send it for testing or store it. Occasionally, if they don't have the correct packaging, like on the scene, I'll assist them with repackaging it into something that's more appropriate for storage.
And when items are done being processed at the crime lab, how do you get them back?
Schedule an appointment just like the first time and drive up there, and they'll sign them out to me and make sure that we've got them all. And they'll give me a list. This is what you're getting back. I'll confirm that's what I got back. They'll sign them over to me, and then they give me a receipt, and I take them back and sign them back into our system and store them at that point.
And how's your evidence stored?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Where do you keep it?
Okay, so we have an evidence room, kind of like a warehouse, and it's got lots of shelves in it and lots of boxes on the shelf. And we break the evidence down into different sections so that, guns don't get stored with drugs, don't get stored with ammo, stuff like that. So it goes in the appropriate section under that case number, and it's organized by case number in order by year.
And so if somebody says, I need to see evidence item 50 from this case, how would you find that?
So in this case, if evidence item 50 is a DNA swab, it would be in general evidence. And so I would go to, because of the amount, a large case, it would be in a large box. I would go to the shelf for this case, 2022. I would find this case number, put it off the shelf, and in that box, packaged individually, would be item 50. I remove that and sign it out to them for whatever they need it for. And then when they're done, they bring it back. I sign it back in and put it back in the box and back on the shelf.
All right. Thank you. I just want to jump ahead a little bit in time to June of 2024.
Okay, this is crazy because it sucks. We are so close to the end, but not close enough. So here's the deal. I have to leave to go get the kids. I'm going to let it play for the next 5 minutes. I want to know what's relevant in June of 2024. Do not remember this from when I watched it either. And then we're going to shut it down, and then I'll come back after. As long as everything works out, because I want to get through this day today, because starting tomorrow, we can start going through the medical examiner and the neighbors and stuff. And that's going to be very interesting, but we need this like baseline first. So let me let it play. And then I want to chat with you for 2 seconds at the end here. I have just a little nugget of information about what I talked about yesterday, which is the case I was almost accused of, well, not almost, actually was accused of the very first day, but was investigated of being a part of, and that's local to me, that's happening right now, which I still can't believe that happened. I want to tell you guys just a little bit of info about that at the end. So let's hear what happened in June of 2024 and try to make it work where we can get through this today and get into the medical examiner tomorrow and stuff. Because,
Did you respond to the Orange County Jail with Sergeant Goodwin in reference to this case?
I did.
And what was the purpose of that?
So we had gotten a notification from the North Carolina Crime Lab that while they were testing the sexual assault kits that were collected in this case from Lyric and Devin, that they needed hair standards from our suspect.
Yes.
what is this about?
So, Investigator Baldwin, did you go with Sergeant Goodwin to collect a hair standard from the defendant?
I did.
And why did you do that?
We received a notification from the crime lab that they needed it for comparison purposes.
And how did you collect a hair standard?
So in this case, we let the defendant pull it himself. They wanted approximately 30 hairs, but they wanted the root intact. Pulling hair is never fun, but it's a lot easier if it's your hair versus me doing it. So we allowed him to pull us approximately 30 hairs from different locations on the head, the sides, the top, the back, places like that, until we got 30 that had a root attached.
And what'd you do with those?
Packaged them and sent them to the crime lab for the comparison.
Why would they need that for a essay kit?
Investigator Baldwin, all of the evidence items that we have discussed this afternoon, the shell casings, the rocks, the DNA swabs from the terrain, and were those items all sent to the state crime lab for further testing?
Yes.
And were there other items that were sent to the crime lab for further testing?
There were several other items sent.
And what were those?
We would have had items collected at the autopsy. I know that there were projectiles recovered from the bodies. They were sent for testing. There were sex assault kits collected from the bodies at autopsy. They were sent for testing. I can't recall anything else immediately.
At some point, was there a DNA standard for the defendant turned into evidence?
Oh, yes, there's a DNA standard for comparison purposes.
And was that also sent to the crime lab?
It was.
If I could have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Owen,
Good afternoon.
looks like you're the star of the show this afternoon.
Whoa. Okay. We're stopped at the cross. We're going to stop there. Come back this evening and play this damn cross because I got to hear it. I want to know. It might not be nothing, but why would it take until June of 2024 when this happened in the fall of 22 to get to needing a hair sample for an essay kit for a comparison? And why would they need a hair sample for an essay kit? My mind is just like blown. Now I'm going to try my best to get something situated here where everybody's kind of content and doing something for like an hour so we can get through this last portion. Maybe the victims has had sex and they wanted to compare to see who had sex with who. Wow, I just did not expect that. I guess it's possible. Johnny, I don't know. We might have seen him from another case. I know the prosecutor, the Madam DA, as they call her, looks familiar to me. I think her name's Anna Orr. Yeah, Anna Orr. Okay, so we're coming back to talk about this. Now, listen, a couple quick things. Thank you so much for spending your day with me, especially because I know this case just doesn't interest many people, apparently. So that really fucking makes me mad. I'm going to be honest. I have a hard time understanding why some cases just do get court TV's attention, Long Crime's attention, Fox News, Dateline, 48 Hours, and some do not. It is bullshit. So anyway, besides that, I want to say two things. Number one, I have a Patreon for members of my channel and members of my Discord. Miss Holly, are you in it? Are you in the, oh God, I said that all screwed up. I have a Discord for members of the channel and members of the Patreon. It's a no drama allowed Discord, just true crime stuff, or share your pet if you want or something like that. But we're not doing any drama in there. I want it to be a place where you can go and get information on different cases or share a case you're interested in or talk about it or whatever and do research together behind the scenes, which we've done once in a voice chat. And I want to try to do one this weekend in there too. If you are interested and you want to join, yeah, please email me and come hang out, because regarding this trial, I will be dropping from this point on any articles I look up or little things that I'm looking at with this trial. I'll be dropping it in the Discord chat. People drop other stuff in there all the time. There's other creators in there that drop their links. So please, if you're interested and you're a member of either one, come email me and come hang out. The second thing I want to say is regarding yesterday's video. So yesterday I talked about a situation I was in. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I think probably most of you have that are here, but because there's not very many people here. It's very interesting. Now, it's regarding a case that is local to me where a young woman was hit by a car. Now, the car was similar to my car, which is how I got involved, and I've been cleared of it. But, the killer is still out there. They hit this woman and just drove off. And it was interesting because doing my research, I found that she had also been hit by a car a year prior. And so I just wanted to tell you guys, I did pass that info along to authorities, just because I'm sure they had seen it. But if not, I thought, the person I've created a relationship with, where I can, where we can communicate at least back and forth about stuff with the case or whatever, law enforcement, wrote me back and said, there is so much more. So now I want to do more research and dig into that more. I'm really curious. It's bizarre and odd that would happen, back to back like that. So, yeah, I guess we'll be doing some research together and looking about that too. And that will probably happen in the Discord as well. So anyway, thank you guys for being here. I have to go get these youngins. I will be back. Listen, I'm following through with this. I don't care if all y'all walk away and quit listening, but I hope you don't. But even if you do, I'm still following through with this. We're doing this start to finish, this entire trial. So, which again is really weird for me and my channel, but this is important and I don't see anybody doing it. So I want to. So today we're going to get through this damn cross-examination and recross, which I think there is a recross. I didn't watch the cross. Yeah, but there is a recross. So cross and recross. And then tomorrow we'll start with the ME. Thank you if you've been here listening with me. And I hope you'll come back this afternoon for the rest of this witness's testimony. Thank you, Tess. I'll be here with you, Allie. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Oh, I always wear my seatbelt. And thank you. Oh, are the honey Cheez-Its good? Tess, I want to know. Best believe we sharing our pups in there. I'll share the new puppy this weekend. I told Trenton, we have to do something cool with him and fun with him for him. I really want him to get all the activity he needs. He needs to be running a lot and playing a lot and stuff. So we're going to take him, we're going to attempt something fun with him. Oh, coffee. That's freaking, I really, really like the people in the Discord, which says a lot. I don't like people. So, all right. You love them, Coffee? Awesome. Okay, guys. So I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you for being here. Kimberly, I hope the rest of your appointment went good or is going good. And photo shoot, I'll see you guys in a little bit and we'll continue. Have a good afternoon. And yeah, thank you again for being here. Bye.